Aum Gangadipataye Namaha. Namaste, and welcome to our continuing series on Vedanta Sutra. Now let's take a look at the famous Anandamaya Sutra. Anandamayo'bhyasat. Anandamaya means the self consisting of bliss. And Abhyasat, actually Abhyasat, means because of the repetition. The translation is, in the passage, the self consisting of bliss, etc., Brahman, which is spoken of as the tail, is put forward as an independent entity and not as something subordinate to Anandamaya, the self consisting of bliss, on account of the repetition of Brahman as the main topic in many passages of that chapter. Now, previously, in the last Adhikaranam, the quality of Brahman as thinking or having independent volition, will, was brought to the fore as the reason for accepting Brahman as the intelligent first cause, the origin of everything else. Now, in this Adhikarana, consisting of several sutras, we're going to discuss the nature of Brahman in relation to bliss. The Anandamaya-kosha is given in the Upanishads, in the Taittarīya Upanishad, as one of the 5 sheaths, bodily sheaths or coverings of the soul. And we've discussed this before in the series on Uladu Narpadu and Upadesha Undiyar by Ramana. And we came to the conclusion that bliss is not the highest. You have the Anandamaya-kosha, this physical body made of food, and then you have the Pranamaya-kosha, the energy body, the Manomaya-kosha, sometimes called the Jnanamaya-kosha, which is the mental body, the Vijnanamaya-kosha, which is the body of intelligence, and finally the Anandamaya-kosha, the bliss sheath. Now, these are not Brahman. And why is that? Because they are all sheaths or coverings of the soul. Now, the soul, Atman, being the self, Brahman. Atman is nothing but Brahman. Cannot be anything but Brahman. Brahman is always put forward as an independent entity, completely self-supporting and not dependent on anything else for its being or its various attributes. All of them are inherent to Brahman itself. So here, the Anandamaya-kosha is given as a composite being. Let me read the passage. Different from this self, which consists of understanding, the Vijnanamaya-kosha, is the inner self, which consists of bliss, the Anandamaya-kosha. Joy is the head. Satisfaction is its right wing. Rapture is its left wing. Bliss is its trunk. Brahman is the tail, the support. So in other words, Anandamaya-kosha is dependent on Brahman, not the other way around. Brahman is the support of this composite entity with a head, 2 wings, a trunk, and a tail. So this Anandamaya-kosha, which is very, very nice, is not the Brahman. This is a major controversy in the understanding of Vedanta. Shivananda and that school take it that Anandamaya-kosha is Brahman. And what does that mean in practice, though? Well, philosophy aside, it means that when we reach the stage of bliss in our meditation, if we think this is the Brahman, this is it, we'll stop. Isn't it? Okay, I got it. I'm good, right? And this happens again and again and again. I've mentioned this many, many times because it was my own experience. That when I reached the first path realization, where you see the whole world as Sat-Chit Ananda, being, knowledge, and bliss, actually unlimited being, unlimited consciousness, pervading everything, and bliss, the beauty of it all. I mean, this is a very nice realization. It's called stream entry in Buddhism, and it means this is where a person becomes eligible for final liberation in nirvana. It may take some more time. In fact, it usually does take up to 7 lifetimes for them to actually graduate. But once they enter the stream, just like the stream merges into the river and then flows downstream until it gets to the ocean. In the same way, one who reaches stream entry continues to flow along the passage of Brahman until he reaches the source. But first path is only the beginning. Many people take it to be the end. I'm going to use Osho as an example, but there are many others. He puts forward his story of his enlightenment as an experience that he had when he was about 21 years old. And I had the same experience, or very, very similar experience, in 1984. And I also thought, this is it. It just had this is itness. This quality about it that, my God, how could there be anything beyond this? Well, guess what? There is. There is. It's called first path for a reason, because there are 3 more realizations before the final nirvana, nibbana, or the mahasamadhi, full enlightenment. And what are those? Well, we'll get into them as we go through the Vedanta. But it's important to note that the first path is only the beginning of the big realizations. And also, rapture is mentioned. Joy is the right wing, rapture is the left wing. Bliss is the trunk of this Anandamaya. Joy is the head. So yeah, it goes to your head like a good stiff drink or something. And you're feeling joy everywhere. And you say, oh my God, this must be the final enlightenment. I'm done. And you stop your sadhana. This was a feature in Osho's story, and it's a feature in many stories similar of saints who got a preliminary view of enlightenment and then later on had to come back into sadhana to finish up. It happened to me too. I thought, oh, this is it. I'm done. I'm enlightened. I can go off and be a guru and save the world. Well, guess what? It's not so easy. Even if you have the first stage enlightenment, it's not complete. In fact, Buddha also says that bliss or rapture is the 4th jhana, the 4th stage of meditation. And there are 8 stages. So are you done yet? No. Anandamaya is a very good sign that you are progressing along the path. But it still takes further study and contemplation, further purification, to get to the stage where you don't fall down. Now, what's wrong with Anandamaya? Because it's in contrast with Nirananda, dukkha, or suffering. See, anything that is in opposition to anything else is simply an attribute, just a quality, not the thing itself. So if our Ananda is in contradistinction to Nirananda, if our light, enlightenment, is in contradistinction to darkness, then we have duality. Then we have difference. You see? This is not the ultimate. This is not the single, undivided Brahman. This is still the relativistic stage of duality. It's very good, you know. We want to tell you, this is great that you've achieved bliss. In fact, I go into it in great detail in the series on the secret of the golden flower, exactly how to attain this bliss. And anybody can do it. Anybody can have Ananda because it is our constitutional state during deep sleep. During deep sleep, we forget about the body, we forget about the world, we forget about the ego and the mind, and there's nothing. But during that stage, we are also very, very happy. And as Ramana would say, if there's any proof that happiness is only available without the body, then let's look at this Ananda during sleep. Because if we don't get deep sleep for a few days or a week, we go crazy. Experiments have shown. So we need this Ananda. Without it, we can't live. We can't go on. But it's still not the ultimate realization. It's beyond the duality of Ananda and Nirananda, happiness and suffering. It's beyond all duality. So Brahman is there. It's the support. It's the tail of this bliss. But it's not the thing itself. And another thing that Ramana mentions is that during ordinary sleep, we're in ignorance. We don't realize that we're aware. We think, oh, this is nothing. But it's actually everything. He calls the deep sleep lying in the arms of Brahman, or lying in the lap of Brahman. This is a beautiful simile, because that's how it feels. We're entering a shelter. We're taking refuge in the self of all. And this brings us rest and recharges us for the next day. But that day and night cycle is also duality. It's also illusion. We have to get completely out of that. And that means that we're beyond bliss and suffering. We're beyond knowledge and ignorance. We're beyond being and non-being. And that is the real enlightenment. So we couldn't end the story so soon in the beginning. It has to go on. So, no, sorry. Anandamaya is not it. Om Tat Sat. Om Harihi Om.